Alright, so what happens if your snowblower runs rough and it doesn't have power? Then you have a problem probably with your carburetor. And I'm going to fast forward through this, how I take the carburetor off. It's not a big problem. There's only 2 screws where it's fixed with. So you need to remove a few screws and take some stuff off to get to the carburetor. That's not very difficult. And if you can't do that already, then you shouldn't even attempt to open up the carb. Here in this picture, you can see the carb, and I remove like a few wires and the choke handle there. It may be possible to do this without doing all that, without removing the carb, but I want to take it off the snowblower so that I can show you better, that you can see more details in how to do this. I see on the internet, there's a lot of good videos out there, but you can't see anything because it shakes and is like a bad picture quality. Here, when you remove this little wire here, make sure you remember where you took it off, what hole it was inserted in when you take it off, so that you can put it back together the same way. So here I'm checking the levers on here, if they move, and if the choke moves correctly here. It opens all the way and it closes all the way. That's good. Then here is the vacuum hose connected on that side. The gasoline comes in. There's the mounting screws in there. Here is the throttle. And again, we check if both work, if the full closure works and the full opening. Now, notice in those carburetors here, and this particular engine, it doesn't open all the way, so that's normal. But the idle screw here should have contact and touch at least the throttle here, and it doesn't. So this machine had a bad idle for sure. Yeah, that screw has to go in more. Let me see if I have a screwdriver. This screw needs to be adjusted while the engine is running, in the warm engine, and so that you can set the idle speed of the snowblower. That's done later when the engine is warm. But so in this case, because here is a big gap, you can close at least the gap. Then you don't have to fiddle around later, because the screw is not easy to get to. You need like a screwdriver of the right length to get to it. It's a little annoying there. What I want to show here is that you can see the gap there. See, it's not touching. Alright, so when we have that done, then we open the bowl. I want to see what we find in there. And why it was not running good. The answers are often in there, in the carburetor. There you go. And we inspect every single thing we remove, and we can see here, there is a little dirt on there. That little fuzz there is in front of the hole. And the hole is the hole where it's sucking the gasoline in, okay? And because this hole here is clogged with this thing, whatever this is, that's why we didn't have enough gas and therefore not enough power. You see that here? What the heck is that? Let's see. There it is. Look at that. So that was in the hole. And this is probably the problem we had. But since we have this open, we go through and check out any other possible hole in there for like stuff being in there. Clogged or not. If you are unsure how to get this back together, leave it as is. Or what you could do is take a video like I do here. If you have questions later on how to put it back together, you can watch your own video and look at it. So in this case, we remove this plastic trimmer. There should be no gasoline inside of it. There's the needle valve. And we need to inspect the needle valve seat. This will come out probably, it's a little rubber ring in there. If we blow air in the other hole on the other side in this plastic piece, if we blow air in there, it probably comes out immediately and flies away. So you have to hold your hand in front of all the holes when you blow air in it, not that you lose parts. There's stuff capped. This one here we need to open. We can reuse that later if it doesn't fly away. And there's another part. I'm going to take this out with a screwdriver. It's in there very tight, and we put it back in very tight. So when that is out, we also inspect for dirt. Dirt in the holes, or clogged holes, oxidation, that kind of thing. But this one is not that old, so it can't be oxidized so easy. Plus I removed always the gasoline and let it run dry after the winter. So we have other holes in the carburetor that are sealed here, and that I would open only if whatever we do now doesn't work right. Plus there's the option that you can get nowadays a new carburetor from China on Amazon or eBay for like 15 to 20 bucks. Then you can save yourself all this work if that's easier for you. But the new carburetor coming from there will have the same problem this one has. Depending how clean you are when you make the carburetor, how many little pieces of dirt you leave in the carburetor when you make it, depending on that, you have a more or less successful carburetor. Like this one, right? So it's not clogged or anything with dirt. I bet this piece of dirt there comes as they made it. It was just sitting somewhere and then took some time to travel over there to that hole. Then on the other hand, I don't think this thing has a filter. So when you pour in new gasoline in your snowblower, then and there's dirt in that, then this one will suck it in, right? So this is the seat that came out as I was blowing out the hole there. That has to go back in here, like a rubber seat for the needle valve. Push that all the way back in. There it goes. Perfect. Yeah, and then what's left is that we put this thing back together the same way we found it. This one here is a little more difficult, but you want to hook that up, close it up, and then we should be fine. I wonder if it would have made sense to fast forward this here. But many of you are always asking here for more detail and slow. There, that goes in there. Right, it's still moving up and down the float. It's like in the toilet bowl. Alright, now I put the bowl back on, and we have memorized in what position it goes on. And then that's right, that's the position. There, like this. It's all clean in there. We put it back in and tighten this thing as tight as it was. Huh? We can't forget the other jet I have laying there on the right. That's the last piece. Let's see, where is it? There's the hole. Jet goes in there. Screwdriver. And we notice as we removed it, it was pretty tight, so we go tight again. If that one loosens up, then you're going to suck air through that hole there on the side, air and dirt, and you won't run right. There it goes. And then I put the plastic cap back on. I don't know if it stays in there. It's not the newest anymore. But there should be it. And the engine will run with this for sure. So we saw that this little piece came out that was blocking the jet for the main jet for the fuel, right? And so that is 100% the explanation why it didn't have enough power. There's two little holes in there. One was completely clogged. So we have 50% of the gasoline we should have. That means half the power we should have, right? So this thing has 6 horsepower. Then with that thing in the hole there, it has only 3. That's a noticeable difference. And I just want to look under the microscope how big this is and what it is. But that is a weird stuff, like some paper kind of thing, I would think. Like a paper could be a gasket piece from where, who knows where. Maybe even the one that holds the main jet in. Hard to say, but you know, this piece is not like a clean cut from anything, so this is weird how it looks like. But yeah, that was the cause of the trouble in this machine. I hope you enjoyed this video, and try to subscribe, rate, and comment. Thanks for stopping by.